Family, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube. Today is Sunday. It is November 23rd, following Alabama's 56-0 win over Eastern Illinois. Today on the show, I am going to be going over a lot. This is an action-packed show. We're going to be assessing Ty Simpson's play. We're going to be giving you our thoughts on Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. Of course, talk Connor Talty and the issues surrounding the kicking game. The injury report, is the running game solved? Ryan Grubb on the sidelines, why? Highlight the defense, which is playing absolute fire, right? Early look at the Auburn Tigers, specifically at the quarterback position, college football playoff rankings, and I think this situation at Ole Miss is a landmark situation. Let's start up at the top, and I appreciate you guys hitting the thumbs up on this video. Ty Simpson has 8 turnovers in the last 5 games. 8. He has 5 fumbles and 3 interceptions. Now, against Eastern Illinois, I thought that the interception that he threw, number 1, I thought that was a bad ball. Right across the middle. I don't exactly know what he was looking at, but the defender was right up there. He just jumped up, made the interception. The second one, it's kind of like a Hail Mary type throw. I didn't like that series at all by Alabama. That was the series where they put Crispy out there as a receiver. Why are you even running that against Eastern Illinois? They had the fake reverse. I felt that those were drive killers. I don't understand why you're doing that against Eastern Illinois. It's not even like Alabama was up 50-0 or something like that. It was like, I thought, a long sustaining drive to get the offense some momentum. I thought that was what was needed. I felt sometimes, and I'll talk about Ryan Grubb in just a second, but I sometimes feel like, what are we doing here on offense? Like, we don't need to be doing this against Eastern Illinois. We have enough athletes to be able to do whatever we want besides a gadget play. Right? Sometimes when teams are using gadget plays, it kind of tells you that they can't move the football in traditional fashion. And one of the other things that I'd like to ask you, where are all the explosive plays at? It seems like there's not a lot of explosive big plays, like a 50-yard run, a 80-yard touchdown. Like, do they not have explosive players? When's the last true explosive that this team had? Kind of food for thought. But about Ty Simpson, I think the biggest question that everybody wakes up and they ask themselves, and I think when you're talking at breakfast or even over the Thanksgiving break, is Ty Simpson regressing at quarterback? And I have been protecting Ty because of what I've seen on the field. I'm like, okay, yeah, the fumbles, blindside, but now that you've thrown 3 interceptions, you have 8 turnovers in the last, 5 games, that's concerning to me. Specifically when you have to play a playoff play-in game against the Auburn Tigers, right? I'm curious, do teams have more film on Ty? That is something that A.J. McCarron brought up. Is he living in his own head? I feel like Ty, looking at the play sheet, I don't know if he still does that, but I feel like he might be over-assessing things, right? Trying to control too much, trying to be a coach, rather than just relying on his own playmaking ability. I don't know what's going on, but I do feel like if you ask me, Kyle, is Ty trending for better or for worse? I'd 100% say worse. So going into this back end of the most pivotal time of year, it was Ty Simpson a couple weeks ago said, you are remembered for what you do in November. And I think everyone right now in college football is like, they see this guy as someone who is turning over the football and not playing elite level football, right? So I thought the first half overall, I really wasn't impressed with Alabama's offense. They had so many opportunities, and I don't feel that they ever really found a rhythm. I know you were missing Jeremy Bernard. I know you were missing Parker Brailsford. I know you were missing Josh Cuevas. This is Alabama. You were playing Eastern Illinois. You should be able to still capitalize on a lot of opportunities that you had. You should still look fluid. You should look dominating. You should have long sustaining drives. You should have explosives. They didn't have any of that. Did the offense look better under Mac Jones? Mac Jones. Did the offense look better under Austin Mack in the second half? The offense was going in the second half. They had much more fluidity when Austin Mack came in. 100% they did. Now, am I calling for Austin Mack to start against Auburn? No, I don't think we're there yet. But would you agree with me that Austin Mack commanded the offense well in his opportunities? I would say so. One thing that I was really impressed with today from Austin Mack was actually his feet. I'd never really seen the guy run before. He's fast enough. That was a 20-yard touchdown run. And I thought he did command. And we already know that he has a cannon. But the guy running the football, he looked good. And if you ask me about Keelan Russell and his opportunities, I like him as well. His delivery is so smooth. And, I was talking to a friend Saturday night. He was like, I think Keelan Russell is the most talented and has probably the highest ceiling. But in terms of, maybe the least amount of experience right now. But Keelan Russell is 100% like the guy. And I do like Austin Mack too. And I think the future of the Alabama quarterback position, that's a rich position for Alabama, 100%. I do like the fact that they allowed Keelan to have an opportunity with 4th down and 5 or whatever from, 5-yard line. Let him see, let him be a playmaker. Let's see what he could do. Get experience. Situational football. Love it. All right. 11 of 18 for kicking field goals for Connor Talty. Not good. We're getting closer to 50% for a field goal kicker. I'm watching college football all day long like you are, and I see kick after kick after kick go through the uprights. This guy missed a 28-yard field goal. Fans were booing him. I seriously do not remember the last player that was booed. I asked you on the live, can you please tell me inside the comment, who was the last player that was booed by fans at Bryant-Denny Stadium? Coach Kalen DeBoer defended him. I'm not surprised. I mean, that's his guy. And to be honest, I think there is a huge issue right here with the kicking game. I think, and kickers, we know this, everything lives inside their head. I'm terrified of Connor Talty kicking field goals at the barn. That's a terrifying thought. We all know that game could go either way. We all know the dramatics of that game. It's crazy. You have to have a buttoned-up field goal kicker, plus at this time of year. Think about all the teams you're about to play. There's no more Eastern Illinois on the schedule. From here, it's Auburn, SEC championship, playoffs. And I don't think they have a kicker behind him. Peter Dottaro came in, that guy almost missed the extra point. Would that kick have gone in from 25 yards out? Or from 30 yards? Hell no. So big issues with the kicking game? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There's no way to sugarcoat it and just be like, yeah, he's going to get it together and things are going to work out. At first, it was issues from, 40 yards. Now it's issues from under 30. It's just, there's issues there. Josh Cuevas and the foot injury. How serious is it? At this point, we don't know right now. Jeremy Bernard, Parker Brailsford, and Cuevas all missed today. Bernard and Brailsford will be back in action against Auburn. But Coach Kalen DeBoer didn't really give a definitive timeline about Josh Cuevas. We don't even know how severe the injury is. If he can't play, I'm worried about that. Josh Cuevas is a weapon. He's not a serviceable tight end. He's a weapon. So as we get through this week, and I'm sure we'll get the first kind of update on Wednesday during the student availability report on Josh Cuevas, but I don't know. We'll keep you posted on that. That's huge. Regarding Alabama's tight ends, you look to Caleb Edwards, who's a very dynamic freshman. Marshall Pritchett, I thought, had a really good game as well. He's another really good freshman that's going to get there. And then you had Brody Dalton, the transfer, who came in, 3 receptions for 22 yards. So he's more serviceable. And they have tight ends, but they don't have a playmaking tight end going into this Auburn game if Josh Cuevas doesn't go. Is the running game soft? And you're like, damn, Kyle, all this is like negative. I don't know. This is all factual. These are all things that we have to, that people are talking about. And, there's positives for sure, but this is where we're at right now. Let's talk about it. So is the running game solved? Yes or no inside the comment box? I would say that not quite. And I think you have to take into account who you're playing. Now, what we saw from Alabama against Eastern Illinois was every single running back that's on the roster run the ball. And I wanted to see that. Do I want to see 7 touchdowns? Sure. 1 additional touchdown. It was 8 total because, Austin Mack ran one in. But, is it fixed? I just think it's too hard to assess because of who you play. Now, do it against Auburn. Do it in the SEC championship. Yeah, then I'm going to be happy. Now, I did like what we saw from A.K. Deere and Kevin Riley. Those guys are lightning in a bottle. Clearly the fastest running backs of the group. But how are they in pass protection in SEC competition? We will not be able to assess that until that actually happens, right? So, A.K. Deere, did he look good? Hell yeah, he looked good. So did Kevin Riley. It was good to see him back in the fold. Even Richard Young got some action. But until we see that continued high-level play against SEC competition, I think it's kind of the same. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Ryan Grubb on the sideline. So I have a mixed take on this, but I think I feel better. So at first when I heard this, I was like, what the hell are they doing? This is like a bad sign that late in the season they're thinking about switching things up with Grubb. And then the TV broadcast was like, he was down on the field to talk to his younger players, which makes perfect sense. You want to do like face-to-face talk with Austin, face-to-face talk with Keelan, right? Talk with his guys. So I feel much better about that. I don't think that he's going to be on the sideline for the game against Auburn, right? Tell me that that's the case. Because I was like tripping out. I was like, I don't want this to happen. I want my offensive coordinator in the booth, right? So I don't think there's anything to worry about. But what is something to worry about, in my opinion, these damn gadget plays. Do you like them or not? Do we have to run 5 to 6 gadget plays a game? Is that like in the contract? Why are we throwing it to Caden Proctor in the second quarter? Think about this. What if Caden Proctor, they're going to go low on him? You think they're going to try to tackle him high? What if somehow Caden Proctor gets hit on the knee and he's done? You already know we have issues at the right tackle position. You want an issue at the left tackle too? I think you are playing with fire every single time that Caden Proctor is carrying the ball. What do you think? And these fake reverses and all this other stuff, it's like the razzle-dazzle. I think Alabama should just be able to line up and just dominate, especially in a game like this against Eastern Illinois. So, but you already know how I feel about gadget plays. All right, the defense. Let's give props to defense. Yo, Tim Keenan might as well have just caught the snap and was, run to the end zone a couple times. He was back there a bunch of times. The defense is crazy good, okay? Allowing 34 offensive yards is literally crazy work. 34 yards. That's the 4th fewest yards allowed in program history. Yo, Kane Womack, man. This dude, he's Kane Womack. Yo, I did not expect this from Kane Womack. I didn't know he was going to be like bringing it with the deep. He has had the biggest glow up out of any assistant football coach that we've had here, like year over year. The defense is tremendous. And the thing about it is like, okay, so the running game, right? Yeah, do it against Eastern Illinois. Fine. But the defense is doing this against everybody. Now I know, they allowed yards against Oklahoma some, but they made Mateer look mid. The defense has been the backbone 1,000,000%, and they showed up again today. I knew. My score was 63-0 when I was a touchdown off. There was no way in hell that this team was going to score against Alabama. Anybody who's scouting Alabama, I think they know they're like, I think we have opportunities to stop their offense. But I think they're like, yo, that defense is ferocious. You got Quay Rusaw back. You got Yanzi Pierre coming. The defense, you can't pass against them. They're first in the passing defense in the SEC. Nobody can throw for 200 yards on these guys. Defense is salty. And I think out of every single thing, whether it's the first couple, the running game issues or Ty, if if we can get back on track in that area, specifically at the quarterback position, the defense is going to keep you in games. The defense is going to win games for this team. The defense is the backbone of where we're at right now. And last year, you couldn't say that. Last year, that was the area that you could poke holes in. The only negative that I could say about the defense today, the only negative was that it was a 3rd and 15 and they got 17 yards. Outside of that, they didn't do anything. Nothing. Another area that I feel that this team is performing well in is the penalties. Did you know that Alabama has 7 penalties in the last 3 games? They had 1 against LSU. They had 2 against Oklahoma, so that's 3, and they had 4 today. So 7 total in 3 games. That's a hell of a number. You have really good defense, and you have, limited penalties. The only thing that Alabama has lost, unfortunately, in the last 2 games is the turnover battle. They lost the turnover battle today against Eastern Illinois, right? So really good to see the penalties decreasing at this time of year. Crucial. Okay, early look at the Auburn Tigers. And we'll start with the quarterback position. Deuce Knight started for the Tigers today. He was 15-20, 239 yards, ran for 162 yards and scored 4 touchdowns on the ground, right? So the guy, is a freshman kind of do-it-all type guy. Now, will he play against Alabama? I don't know. I think Ashton Daniels is likely to play against Alabama. Now, he didn't play today because they're saving his red shirt. Ashton Daniels against Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago, he was 31 of 44 for 353 yards with 2 touchdowns. I would imagine that it's Ashton Daniels that starts against Alabama. What do you think? Do you think they really start a true freshman? Now, it doesn't matter who starts in that game for Auburn. They will play their best football. They will be the best player in college football. Their tight ends will be the best tight ends in college football. They will make ridiculous catches that you've never seen. You know how this works. I'm serious. Like, remember that year that Bo Nix was on the struggle bus and he was the best quarterback in the world against Alabama? That's what to expect from any quarterback. And that starts for these guys, okay? One thing I was bringing up, Auburn, look, they've had a very disappointing season. Shocker. But if you look at the scores this season against common opponents, Alabama, who they played, and Auburn, who they played, and the teams Alabama's beat, the teams Auburn's lost to, let's look at this. They lost to Oklahoma by a score of 24-17. That game was tied 10-10 at half. They lost to Georgia 20-10. They were leading that game 10-3 at half. They lost to Missouri 23-17. It was 10-7 at half. They lost to Vanderbilt 45-38. It was 20-10 at half. The most that this team has lost this season is by 10 points. It's not like they're getting blown out of games. They're in every single game. Every game. So, look, we know that the Auburn game, anything can happen in that game. I think the temperature is still supposed to be pretty frigid. We'll have to check on that. Does that matter? Probably not. But what is DJ Durkin known for? What is he known for? Good defensive coach. Their defense is pretty good, pretty salty. This offense needs to get it together in a hurry. And Ty needs to put it together. A late season November showing against Auburn. People remember you for that. All right, let's talk about the college football playoff and some quick hits, okay? Ohio State, they beat Rutgers 42-9. Yo, Ohio State, think about this. I get it. Alabama played Eastern Illinois today. But Rutgers this week, last week UCLA, you know what I'm saying? Indiana, they're open. Texas A&M beat Sanford 48-0. Georgia beat Charlotte. It was that week in the SEC, right? 35-3. Oregon beat USC 42-7. Oklahoma beat Missouri 17-6. Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. These guys are going full court style points, okay? Notre Dame, I will say this about Notre Dame. These guys know how, how some people in life are just better at life. They know how to make more money. They know how to play the game. They know how to talk to people. They know when to talk. They know when to listen. They know, some people are just better at life, period. Notre Dame is that person, right? They figured out, they're like, we don't have to join a conference. We can just win 10 games. We got the national pool. People want us in there, right? Playoff criteria. They knew before anybody that running the ball was part of the criteria. We didn't even know that. We got to the back end of the season. We figured that out. We're like, oh, man, you got to run the ball to get in the playoffs. Notre Dame was like, we already knew that at the beginning of the season. We got the cheat sheet, all right? And then Notre Dame knows that style points are also included. So they're like, hey, Alabama beat Eastern Illinois 56-0. Let's beat Syracuse, a Division I opponent. Let's put 70 on them. Let's run the ball and put, you know what I'm saying? So Notre Dame knows how to work the system. Next week they got Stanford. Then they'll be 10-2. And then they'll just be like, yo, we're here. And the craziest thing to me, what I don't understand about Notre Dame, it drives me crazy. And I'm not going for Miami over anybody, but remember the committee member was like, well, we can't really assess Notre Dame and Miami. Like, how? They played on the field. Well, that was earlier in the season. Well, so was Alabama when they lost to Florida State. Well, Florida State sucks. Like, what? BYU is beating Cincinnati right here by a score of 20-14. I would imagine the Cougars close it out here, right? Still one last team. And then you have Utah. They beat Kansas State. They came from behind to win 51-47. The committee loves this. Like Utah, they're going to be like, well, we love the way they played. Vanderbilt beat Kentucky 45-17. Diego Pavia having some ridiculous numbers. Okay, my last thing is this. Hear me out on this Ole Miss deal. It seems to me like this coming Saturday that Lane Kiffin is going to take the LSU job. $90 million contract, $25 million additionally to work with for just cash for his roster. Crazy, crazy numbers. And Ole Miss is on the verge of an 11-1 season. Here's my theory. What if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State and finishes the year, like I said, 11-1? What if Kiffin then takes that job? What if assistant coaches and some players follow Lane Kiffin to LSU, right? Would the seeding committee penalize Ole Miss because that team's not the same team anymore? You don't have the same coach. Maybe you lose some players. You lose some assistant coaches. Remember a couple years ago this happened with Florida State? This could honestly be what I feel is a landmark case in changing the college football calendar. I really do. What they need to do is pair it up with, they just need to push everything back. We have nothing to talk about in February. Move everything back. Try to figure out some enrollment dates and push things back. Why does everything have to be like in December, from December 1st to December, 20th? Why? Why did we do this? Saban said today, this isn't a Lane Kiffin issue. This is a college football issue. GOAT knows best. Hey, Coach Saban, why don't you just take over and become the college football commissioner, please? I mean, it's like you could agree with Coach Saban on every single thing that he says. Alabama, 9-2. Gigantic game against Auburn. You win. In my opinion, you're in. You win, what is guaranteed is playing in the SEC title game. Okay. Now, if Texas A&M beats Texas, Alabama is playing Texas A&M. If Texas beats Texas A&M, Alabama play Georgia. I'd rather see Alabama play Texas A&M just based on matchups, but there's so much to dive into, and I promise you, I'll deliver this entire week. All right. So it's Thanksgiving. There's a lot to be grateful for. 9 wins is hard to come by. And you look at what Alabama has done this year, they already matched the same win total as last year, right? And I think that the defense can hold the rope. And if you can get that offense somehow going, you still have an opportunity to do some really, really impressive things this year. So if you have a little bit of frustration, that's okay, and it's understandable, right? But at the same time, live on the fact that this team has enough talent to do damage. We've seen it before. And I don't think that anyone has a better win in the country than Alabama. And that came in September when they beat Georgia in Athens. I appreciate you guys listening this morning to Wake Up Bama. Enjoy your beautiful Sunday. I really appreciate you guys being here. News as it happens, live every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central Time, right here at Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will see you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube.